During the independence referendum campaign in Scotland last year, supporters of both sides came under attack on social media, sometimes in very aggressive and unpleasant terms. Both sides naturally complained about the other, but the so-called CyberNats, that's belligerent online nationalists, well, they're under reputation as the nastiest and the most relentless, and maybe the most vocal as well. Yesterday, Nicola Sturgeon vowed to crack down on any intimidating online activity by people affiliated with the SNP. Now, in a moment, we'll talk to the SNP MP Tasmina Ahmed Sheikh. But first, though, joining us from Edinburgh is the journalist Alex Linklater. Alex Linklater, welcome. Were you on the wrong end of the CyberNats?
During the referendum, yes.
How unpleasant was it?
It comes on a spectrum, but at the far end of the spectrum, it's extremely unpleasant. It actually sort of distinguishes itself from the normal trolling you'd get publishing an article and getting the internet banging back at you. It's a real seam of hate running at the far end of it. And
it's often said that, well, of course, on the unionist side, there were some pretty unpleasant people too, and I've got some example, one about Andy Murray, which is because he came out for independence, which is pretty much unreal. There's one bit I can say which gives you a taste of it: wish you had been killed at Dunblane, which is on a par with a lot of what the CyberNats say. But were there more, and were they worse, the CyberNats?
I don't know. You'd have to do a study like they do in America of a Republican abuse versus Democrat abuse. I would say it's not symmetrical, is what I'd say. I'd say there's a distinct characteristic to the CyberNat abuse. I don't think there is as such the other side isn't a coherent ideological entity in the same way. So it's not quite comparable.
In your view, did the Scottish nationalist establishment, the party establishment, Alex Salmond then, did they do enough to dissuade, to discourage, to distance themselves from the CyberNats?
No, I don't think they did then, but I think they are doing now. And I think what Nicola Sturgeon is saying is extremely important. Better late than never.
All right. Well, I guess there's only one final point to put to you before we go to the Scottish nationalists is, I guess you're a commentator. We journalists can often be quite tough about people we criticise, take robust lines. Don't we just need a thicker skin?
Yes, actually, I think, it's not that serious an issue. I think the real issue is not what's happening at the lunatic fringes of online debate. What's really missing is a credible centre of public debate in Scotland. We've got the demise of the Scottish press accelerating at an alarming rate, and very little credible centrist public debate going on in the middle. It's the middle I'm worried about, not the extremes.
All right, thank you very much for that. Let's now go from Edinburgh to Glasgow, and we're joined by the SNP MP Tasmina Ahmed Sheikh. Welcome to the programme. Now, Nicola Sturgeon says this is unacceptable. She wrote in, of all places, yesterday the Scottish Daily Mail with a long article saying, but it's emerged that she's not squeaky clean on this issue either. She has been following some people pretty unpleasant, could be classified as CyberNats. For example, she followed someone whose account was called Yes, Thatcher Dead. Why would you do that?
And I think we should start by saying that this crosses all political divides. Now, people engage in the debate at this unacceptable level from all political parties, and indeed no political parties. Now, Nicola Sturgeon is First Minister, who's extremely popular and followed by many, many people, and we are all looking at our accounts to see who we are following and who indeed is following us.
But why was she following someone with the name Yes, Thatcher Dead?
Andrew, the most important thing is what we are going to do now moving forward.
No, the most important thing for the next minute is that you answer my question. Why was she following someone called Yes, Thatcher Dead, who tweeted about threatening George Osborne with a Glasgow kiss? For those of us south of the border, that is a headbutt, and a Glasgow smile, which is a razor-slashed face. Why would you follow someone like that?
Andrew, like many of us, we follow many people who maybe in their earlier days didn't participate in such vile behaviour via social media, and it takes some time and tremendous effort to trawl through all of the people you're following to see their latest remarks. And people are indeed very busy in politics and trying to do some good in this country. So I think the important thing we should take from this is what Nicola has now suggested that we do, and she's extended a hand, as she does so often, to all political parties to say, let's work together to ensure that this doesn't continue. Now, robust political debate should be encouraged. It's something that we enjoy, and it's one of the joys of social media.
No one's arguing about robust debate. We're arguing about whether you should follow someone who's threatened to slash the face of the Chancellor. And it's not just Nicola Sturgeon. 44 of the SNPs, 56 Westminster MPs were following what could easily be classified as CyberNat accounts, full of tweets anti-English and homophobic. 28 of your members of the Scottish Parliament were following similar accounts too. There is previous on this. Why are your fellow politicians following these sort of people?
In exactly the same vein, there are commentators like Ian Smart, a member of the Labour Party, whom Nicola drew attention to at First Minister's questions to Kezia Dugdale. It took her 47 days to act upon his remarks where he called all of us fascist scum. And you should know that in the past...
And if he was here, I'd be questioning him robustly too. But it's not an answer to say, oh, because he did it, it's all right for us to do it. Why were 44 of your now Westminster MPs following CyberNats?
Andrew, I am a victim of abuse myself. It's misogynistic, it's racist, it's Islamophobic, but it's important to note.
But why were you following them then?
As recently in the past 3 weeks, I've been a victim of a crime which was reported. The police acted swiftly. The person was arrested, went through court and is currently on bail. This is happening across society.
Right, but let me just try one more time. Why are your fellow MPs following these CyberNats? If you wish to have nothing to do with them, say you're not responsible for them and want them to stop, why would you follow them?
As I've already articulated a couple of minutes ago, Andrew, many people are followed when they joined Twitter early on, and at that time it may perhaps well be the case that their comments aren't vile. And it's whether you have the time or indeed opportunity to trawl through and see what these people are currently saying. What is important is where we are now and the message that Nicola is taking out to the people. And it is in fact Nicola who has taken the initiative and seized the initiative in this respect. And
she took the initiative because the Scottish Daily Mail revealed how many of you were following the CyberNats. That's why she had to do. For example, that your candidate in Edinburgh South, who called people, Neil Hay, SNP candidate for Edinburgh South, the only one who didn't win his seat, by the way,
there are many.
He referred to unionists as quislings.
Andrew, there are many and varied cases, and the way forward is this.
He wasn't disciplined.
Well, let's look how we move forward. The opportunity is we either waste our time now going through every single comment that's been made to every person in public and private life by people across the political spectrum and just waste time doing that. We say, actually, let's now work together and work together to move forward to ensure that this doesn't happen again, and where we have the opportunity and where we have members of our party, because at the end of the day, Andrew, you can only enforce mechanisms in terms of people who've signed up to your party
but
to
you
say,
can be responsible for your own members. Why didn't you do something about the about the convener of the SNP's Skye and Lochalsh branch, Charles Kennedy's old constituency, Brian Smith? Hold on, let me answer the question. He described Charles Kennedy in a tweet as, quote, a drunken slob and a quisling in chief. Why would you let that happen?
I'm a Muslim female and have been described as a fascist by members of the Labour Party.
All right.
It is objective. No, that's the point. You make my point for me. We can trawl through lots of tweets and comments that have been made.
He's the convener of your Skye branch.
It's not a question of.
You did nothing about it.
It's not a question, Andrew, please do let me finish my point. It is an important one I wish to make. It's not a question of who's been the victim of most abuse. It's a question of how do we move forward from here, ensuring that we can continue to have a robust and enjoyable political debate, but also draw the line where that turns into vile abuse that is sexist, misogynistic, prejudiced, Islamophobic and racist. That's what we need to be looking at, and that is precisely what Nicola is doing.
Exactly now, what is Nicola Sturgeon going to do?
Well, as she's already commented upon, in fact, your previous contributor has said, indeed, has been commented upon in the House of Lords, that she has taken action to say where there are party members who are behaving in a manner that is clearly inappropriate, we will take action, and there have indeed been suspensions. The question is now, though, Andrew, will all the other political parties join us in doing the same thing? Because if we all do work together, we will finally be able to combat seriously unacceptable levels of behaviour in society. But it will only happen if we join together to do that.
Okay, Tasmina, Ahmed Sheikh, thank you very much for joining us from Glasgow there.